I am happy to be in your nice company after several years away from India because of the COVID-19, but I was looking forward to coming here. So today marks the anniversary of Srila Prabhupada arriving in the USA, specifically arriving in the Boston Harbor. So we shall read from the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, which is in volume 2, and the specific chapter is entitled The Journey to America. So we'll read about that arrival feature from this book. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we can repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, The Journey to America. And we will begin from that paragraph after the 35-day journey from Calcutta on board the Jaladuta. And it goes as follows. After a 35-day journey from Calcutta, the Jaladuta reached Boston's Commonwealth Pier at 5:30 a.m. on September 17, 1965, which is the anniversary today. The ship was to stop briefly in Boston before proceeding to New York City. Among the first things Srila Prabhupada saw in America were the letters, inverted commas, A and P, painted on a pier-front warehouse. The grey waterfront dawn revealed the ships in the harbour, a conglomeration of lobster stands and drab buildings, and rising in the distance the Boston skyline. Prabhupada had to pass through US immigration and customs in Boston. His visa allowed him a 3-month stay, and an official stamped it to indicate his expected date of departure. Captain Pandya invited Prabhupada to take a walk into Boston, where the captain intended to do some shopping. They walked across a footbridge into a busy commercial area with old churches, warehouses, office buildings, bars, tawdry bookshops, nightclubs, and restaurants. Prabhupada briefly observed the city. But the most significant thing about his short stay in Boston, aside from the fact that he had now set foot in America, was that at the Commonwealth Pier, he wrote another Bengali poem entitled Markine Bhagavata Dharma. It's quite famous, and it's here. And in English that means teaching Krishna consciousness in America. Some of the verses he wrote on board the ship that day when he arrived are as follows, and it's in English, the translation, and I'm reading several verses that he wrote, the complete poem, or in the form of poetry that he wrote. Srila Prabhupada wrote, "My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Most of the population here is covered." Sorry, it's just the weather. So I'll read again. "My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva Krishna. I do not know how they will be able to understand it. But I know that by your causeless mercy can make everything possible, because you are the most expert mystic. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service? O Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. All living entities have come under the control of the illusory energy by your will, and therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. I wish that you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire the deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore, I am seeking your benediction so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel gladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. O Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance, O Lord. Make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhaktivedanta, and now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, dated 18th September 1965. Omagyan Atimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada recalled his arrival in Boston in several talks that he has given. So one particular talk was a conversation with a newspaper reporter on June 4th in 1976 in Los Angeles. So the newspaper reporter asked Srila Prabhupada a query, not really a question, but a query. And he said that you have come here just over 10 years ago, because this is in 1976, and Prabhupada came in 1965. So he's saying over 10 years ago. When you came over 10 years ago, we know initially that you took a very active role in your organization, which means the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But then he asked Srila Prabhupada, but now I am wondering whether you still have that active role 10 years later, because now you have a worldwide movement. So he asked that type of question. Srila Prabhupada didn't particularly address his question initially. But Srila Prabhupada, in great humility, and to some extent, some of the devotees who were there in the room, they saw that Srila Prabhupada was having what is called, when there's tears in the eyes but it does not drop. It sparkles. You understand it? Tears in the eyes, but it does not. The Prabhupada was weeping, but he was not weeping fully. He didn't want to expose himself too much. And he told the newspaper reporter, I came here alone in 1965, and nobody helped me. He was saying like that. he was saying where to live, where to live, and where to sleep. He didn't have a place to live, he didn't have a place to sleep, and practically he arrived in a place, but he didn't have a destination to arrive at. Now you can imagine that. Yeah. And then Prabhupada said sometimes some friendly person's house, sometimes another house. And then Srila Prabhupada said, if that person cannot keep me for even 1 or 2 days, then I should just, Prabhupada uses his word, I was practically loitering on the street. Loitering on the street. Now let me explain this word loitering to you in English. It is not a very pleasant word. Yeah. You get the word toilet, T-O-I-L-E-T. See? So when you tell somebody is loitering, the best place for you to go and stay is next to the toilet. Loitering, toilet. That's what it means. Because when you stay at the toilet, nobody will tell you to go away. Because they don't come to stay there. That's how unpleasant the word is. Like that. So practically I was loitering in the street, like that. And you know for how long Prabhupada loitered on the street? Anyone? How long? Yes. He said over 1 year. You can imagine? He doesn't know where he's going to stay. He doesn't know where he's going to sleep. He doesn't have any food to eat. 1 year. We have big feasts here. Yes. Amazing, amazing. Yeah. And then he said, I arrived here in 1965 on 17 September. He's telling the newspaper reporter in Boston. And then after my arrival, somebody came and took me to a place called Butler in Pennsylvania. And there was an associate of Prabhupada, an Agarwal family, who gave him an introduction to the son who was there, who was married to an American lady named Sally Agarwal. And he said, but I couldn't stay there long because I didn't come for that purpose, to be comfortable in somebody's home. And I only stayed there for 20 days. Only stayed there for 20 days. And then I came to New York, because that's why I wanted to come, to New York. And then he said, and then these boys and girls came. These boys and girls came. And when they came, then I got some relief. When they came. Yeah. But at the same time, when they came, I got some relief, but I didn't know that they were relieved to have me. That I'm giving them relief. See? In Nectar of Devotion, getting old, memory going. Should be in the heart, not in the mind or in the brain. What's these words? The six items of pure devotional service to get relief from material distress. Kleshagni Subhada. Yeah. Thank you. Who said that? Thank you. Yeah. Kleshagni. So when you take to Krishna consciousness, you feel first relief, relief from the material, like the burden of material existence is pushing you down, but you feel relief. But yeah, Srila Prabhupada says, when they came to me, the beginning days, in 1966 now, 1 year later, when they came to me, I felt relief. Because he had no support at all. I felt relief. Yeah. But practically they came for the basis of Kleshagni. They will feel relief from the burden of material existence. So just see Prabhupada's consciousness and deep humility, that he felt relief, that they came to him. And in many, many talks after that, and even in conversations, Prabhupada used to glorify his disciples. I can see that simply that my Guru Maharaj has sent me to you, has sent you to me, has sent you to me. He sees like that. How is that? Such a deep humility and not feeling worthy, unqualified, like he wrote in this nice poem when he arrived in the Boston Harbor. So in another place, Srila Prabhupada explains his own consciousness when he wrote this beautiful poem, Markine Bhagavat Dharma. He explained his own consciousness of how he wrote that poem. Like that. And this is in a talk in June 10, 1976 in Los Angeles, like that. And Prabhupada says, and I'll read for you, very beautifully how he explains this. Prabhupada says, and therefore in my poetry, that Markina Bhagavad Dharma, on the strength of Shastra, I said that Rajastama Gunai Era Sabhai Achana Vasudeva Kata Ruchi Nahi Se Prasana. This is from the Markine Bhagavad Dharma. Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied. Therefore, they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva. So I do not know how they will be able to understand it. And that's the part of the poem. And Prabhupada says, actually, that is the fact. Everyone, so many swamis and yogis came to this country. So they advertise in India that they went to America for preaching Vedanta. But being influenced, what Vedanta they learnt? When they returned to India, they have learned how to entice women and how to eat meat. That means those who went from India, they came back like that. This is their Vedanta. Because Karanam Guna Sangos. If you are not strong enough, then association will induce or influence. If you are not a Vaishnav, then if you go into a brothel or a liquor house, then you will be influenced by the drunkards and prostitute hunters. But if you are strong enough, then you will give your effect of the association. They will be the Vaishnavas. That is the difference. So Srila Prabhupada is clearly saying that is the difference between him and all these so-called yogis and Vedantas who went to the West but got influenced by the West. That is the one difference between them and Srila Prabhupada. Then Srila Prabhupada gives his actual consciousness of why he wrote this poem. And I'll read further. So therefore I wrote, Tabe jadi tava kripa hai hayutuki sakale sambhava hai tumi se kautiki. This is from the Markine Bhagavad Dharma. That God is all powerful. Krishna is all powerful. He can do anything impossible and make it possible. So whatever is being done in our Krishna consciousness movement, don't think that it is my influence. It is Krishna's. Krishna can do everything. He can change sattva gun into tamagun, tamagun into rajagun, rajagun into sattva gun. That is as he likes. Just like an expert electrician, he can turn the heater into cooler and cooler into heater. The electric energy is the same. Similarly, Parasya Shakti Vivadaya Shruyate. He has his energy if he likes. And Prabhupada says, my point is that this Krishna consciousness movement has come to your country by the will of Krishna. So there is a favorable situation because the will of Krishna is there, that now the Westerners, especially the Americans, they should become Krishna conscious, unquote. That is his will. So you take the opportunity, cooperate with Krishna, and you will be successful. Thank you very much. So yes, Srila Prabhupada is indicating that when he wrote that poem, he wrote that poem directly to Krishna. He addressed Krishna in the poem, my dear Lord, my dear Lord, my dear Lord. Yeah. So that indicates, Srila Prabhupada is saying that his consciousness is that if Krishna wants this to happen, then it will happen. That much faith he had. Very deep faith. And he had the other faith that he said, and I have full faith in the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I will conclude a little bit later of how Srila Prabhupada is our spiritual father, or spiritual grandfather, or spiritual great-grandfather, for some of us who are taking birth in devotee families also now. Yeah. So at this point we have a wonderful, amazing devotee, quite advanced in Krishna consciousness, His Grace Shankardari Prabhu, so he can share his realizations with us about this auspicious day of Prabhupada arriving in America and about Prabhupada in general. Where's the microphone? Please. I'll conclude. Please. It's a beautiful day, wonderful day of Prabhupada's anniversary. No, you first.
You speak, then I'll speak.
No. Okay, you want Braja Hari Prabhu to speak first, to give you the potency to speak. That's good. So Braja Hari will empower you. Please.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
So Srila Prabhupada, before he went to America, he spent mostly in Bombay, and with great difficulty he got a pass to go to America. So I spoke to his son, Vrindavan Dev.
Yes.
He used to come here and
Yes.
he used to narrate how great difficulty Prabhupada left. So he said, when he left Calcutta, so nobody were there with him. And his son, Vrindavan Dev, and another gentleman, they just came to the Sipik yard.
But he was a little boy, right? Vrindavan
No.
Chandra Dev.
He was little elderly.
Oh,
that time.
okay.
So he was telling that when Prabhupada left home, when he took sannyas before that, nobody, they don't know where to stay because they were living in a rented house and they don't have money for the next month what they have to give. So he was saying that Prabhupada left us in a very difficult situation for a higher cause, And then after he was narrating everything, and then when Prabhupada went to America, so he in Boston, he was in Gopal Agarwal house.
That's in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Gopal Agrawal.
Gopal,
Yeah. Yes.
Gopal Agarwal. So Gopal Agarwal came to our Juhu temple.
Nice.
So his wife was not there, but he came. So somebody called me from America. I took him around, and he stayed here one day. So he was telling that when Prabhupada came there, how he's an elderly man, and his wife couldn't able to cope up because
They're younger and he's older.
because of the difference of age.
Yes.
Yeah, difference of age. And he was narrating, but after he stayed some time, Prabhupada became so happy, and the entire family were very happy. They were very pleased with Prabhupada.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, he was narrating that how Prabhupada is such a good person. No matter whatever problems are there, he just didn't care. But for Krishna, he was struggling, and finally Krishna gave him everything.
Wonderful.
So, and in New York City, when Prabhupada was there, so initially, as everybody knows, initially he was nothing. He used to, there is a book published by BBT that he used to write his all expenses. You must have seen that book. How much money he spent in local train, how much sabji he purchased, everything, per day expenditure about maximum $1, $2, something like that.
Including the cents.
Including cents.
Cents, yeah. Not
Actually,
just dollar.
Because Prabhupada is very particular about the expenses. Even one time here in Juhu, Giriraj Swami, he was temple president, so he went to deposit some money in the Indian Overseas Bank. So that money, some 50 paisa or 45 paisa something, the bank manager didn't give. So Maharaj wrote to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, no, you must get that money from me. So, because Prabhupada knows what is, with great difficulty, he just established ISKCON.
Yes.
And in New York City, I went to New York in 1990. So one Maharaj and myself, we went to do Kirtan in Tompkins Square Park. So they are distributing khichdi there, and some black people are there. Such a crazy place that is. When I went also. That Prabhupada, how he was living with those people. Actually, we did Kirtan. After that, I just went to the toilet there. So one drug addict, black fellow, very tall man, he was taking injection.
Okay.
So when he saw with our dress, he became very angry, and he ran to just, insert the injection to me. And I was running. And then one black devotee, he came and saved me.
So you can imagine Prabhupada's time.
So that means when Prabhupada went, that is about 20 years before.
Yes.
So how difficult situation. That time, hippies movement was very rampant.
Yes.
More
Yes.
that time. So Prabhupada, with great difficulty, he established, and we are very fortunate people that everything has given to us. You don't have to do anything here. When a devotee come here, join, he doesn't know where to eat or what. Everything is ready-made, everything available. So this is Prabhupada's struggle.
Yeah, and Prabhupada struggled with his his first disciples, that he, even for this project, his followers struggled with him also then. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
You reminded me of something though. I met Gaur Mohan Dey years ago in Mayapur. If you see Prabhupada's eldest son, Gaur Mohan Dey, no, Mathura Mohan. No, at least not Gaur. You're right, yeah. His name is Mathura Mohan, right? I met Mathura Mohan. Gaur Mohan is his father. Sorry. Yeah. Same family. Yeah. So Mathura Mohan Dey, I met him. And as soon as I saw him, I offered full dandavats. He looks exactly like Srila Prabhupada. But Vrindavan Chandra Dey has a little bit of his mother's features. Huh? Yes, the mouth, yeah. But Mathura Mohan Dey looks exactly like Srila Prabhupada. It's like, Prabhupada is coming. So I offered a basin. So he looked, I said, "You Prabhupada's son?" He said, "Yes." Of course, he was a little different, We understand how different he was. Yeah, like that. And there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter. It says, "Yagyanam japo yagyosmi." Yeah. So Yagyanam japo yagnosmi means Krishna is directly saying that of all sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names in japa. In japa. Yeah. So, when one pujari asked Srila Prabhupada in Shantipur, after some time he came back from Grihastha into sannyas, and that was the last stop he made before he went to take the Bodha Jaladuta in Shantipur. So he asked Srila Prabhupada, something to the effect in Bengali. He came to our Mayapur temple actually, that pujari's, the whole pujari's son, he used to say Prabhupada. So he asked Prabhupada, he said, "Swamiji, why do you chant so much? Why do you chant Harinam so much like that?" So Prabhupada said, "Yagyanam japo yagyosmi." He said, "But yagya means sacrifice." And Srila Prabhupada said, "Yes, for me to free myself to chant more, the first sacrifice is that I sacrifice my family members to take sannyas." In other words, although he didn't sort of see to the keep, like the maintenance nicely, but he sacrificed that to chant the holy names more, so that he could go to America. He was giving that example. Yeah. And then Srila Prabhupada said, when he went to America and Europe, England and rest part of the world, and then he said, I left a few children. Then Krishna sent so many children. And then he added, without the help of a wife. So I just thought I'll compliment what you were saying. Yeah. And then how Brajari Prabhu said he himself went in 1990 to New York, like that. And then, this like sort of drug addict, he's ignorant in his innocence, and he tried to attack him or something with a needle, like that. Srila Prabhupada said of the Bowery. Bowery is in lower Manhattan. Now the older people know the Bowery in another name. And the Bowery at that time, before that, was known as SKIDS, Skids Row, R-O-W, Skids Row. You may have heard this name, the older ones. Now Skids Row is a place where police, the New York NYPD, New York Police Department, is the most feared police force in the world. It's the most feared. because they are the most highly paid, they do the job. No bribes, they do the job. Yeah. But even the New York Police, NYPD, New York Police Department, wouldn't set foot in Skid Row. Why? And Srila Prabhupada explained, and he said, because the streets were smelling only of urine. You know urine? You pass. The streets were smelling only of that. And the street side were tainted with blood. Tainted with blood stains. In that situation, Prabhupada entered Lower Manhattan, which was known as Skid Row before it became the Bowery. Yeah. And not only that, Srila Prabhupada said, I know about Tamagun from India. I know what is the mode of ignorance. Like that. Srila Prabhupada said, this ignorance, this is not even Tamagun. He said, it is the darkest of the darkest. It is the, now you can imagine what he entered into. Someone in Tamagun you can recognize. Yeah, you can't even recognize if they're in Tamagun. It's the darkest of the darkest. How he entered in that sense. This is just, you sort of transcendently instigated my consciousness to give these comments when you were speaking. Yeah. Then I'll say, I also went to New York for the first time. In 1984, 85, before you went. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't know what to expect, right? Yeah. So our temple is in the Brooklyn area, and then you have to cross these bridges to go into, 22nd Avenue and so forth like that. When I entered, not where 22nd Avenue was, when I entered like Manhattan, area. Manhattan is the main place. When I entered, and 5th Avenue. Now, that is 1984, I don't know, maybe now is 2021. This is like over 30 years ago, yeah. And I was much younger. I was less than half my age, so you're trying to figure out I'm 61 years of age, so that's like over 30 years ago. Now imagine the body is younger, and you're entering. So one devotee took me, because I wanted to buy a tape recorder to tape classes, because it's fairly decent electronics you get there. So when he took me, the first thing I felt, if I didn't attend Mangalarti, if I didn't chant my rounds in the morning and have a full morning program, I wouldn't have survived. The atmosphere was like a vacuum. Vacuum? Yeah. It's like, even if you do not want to engage in sinful activity, it sucks you in. It pulls you in against your own free will. You can understand that? It pulls you in. Fortunately, I was with this devotee. I said, let's do our business quickly and get out. This is Manhattan when I went. So you can imagine what Srila Prabhupada went. The modes of nature pulls you in, Rajagunan. It just sucks you like a vacuum, whether you like it or not. So now you can understand how, Srila Prabhupada is more than transcendental, man. Yeah, more than transcendental. So one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, how did you tolerate this? How did you tolerate? Then Srila Prabhupada said, the word tolerate is not in my dictionary. I don't know. Because Prabhupada doesn't know he's tolerating. Tolerate means you have a conscious effort to tolerate. You understand? But Prabhupada doesn't need to tolerate because he doesn't know he's tolerating. It is natural for him. It's natural for him. Amazing. Give us some nectar. Special day today. So Shankardari will lead us into his affection for Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Actually, I am unfortunate, even though I know Prabhupada and heard younger days, my school days or something, I was not much inclined to deeper in that because I was concentrating on my studies and research and all those things. But the day come, really I remember when I got the proper Leelamrita, after coming from office, that big volume, single volume, continuously I was reading for 4 months
Wow.
without any break.
Which city were you in?
Bangalore.
Bangalore.
No, in US I was in San Diego, but the time I was not devotee.
Okay.
I was working for American Telephone Telegraphy for
Yes.
email development
Yes.
in 85 or 86, but I
Yes.
was devotee but not ISKCON devotee. So, but later when I came back also, I read Prabhupada Leelamrita. On completing the reading, without any doubt, I found he is a true person. And to be frank enough, I didn't read Bhagavad Gita, I didn't read Bhagavatam, nothing I read, only Prabhupada Leelamrita I read. And I found somewhat, I clearly, my consciousness told it is a true person, what he is telling is truth, and what he is teaching is truth,
Yes.
and just try it. That's why Prabhupada Leelamrita motivated me fully to get into Krishna consciousness, and after reading that immediately, within a year, I joined full time.
Wonderful.
And it is my condition, I married, after that both of us joined full time.
Okay.
Generally devotees, after joining them I married, but we married and within a year we joined full time. Almost now 30 years over. We are continuing the service, and all due to Prabhupada's mercy. Also one incident as a continuation of what Prabhu was telling, Prajagiri Prabhu, regarding Vrindavan Day, Prabhupada has left the family in such a condition. Nowadays that ICC meeting is not much happening, Indian Continental Committee of all temple presidents. Vrindavan Day used to come, and every temple president, we used to give our oath for so much money for him that year. He was financially so
Yes.
bad condition. And also, Prabhupada had written his will. One house he has allowed to stay till his family is there. After that, he used to come back to ISKCON. He never made any property to the family. Even though he was the sole cause of everything,
Yes.
he has written a will for a house for the first his wife and
Yes.
to stay for some time. After their life, it should come back.
Yes.
Now recently I remember Bureau passed a resolution, something that can be donated to their family. Something like that, he has kept his family totally in a dry state. He has not kept in a well-to-do state. You were talking about sacrifice.
Yes.
This came to my memory. Even till the end, he never did anything. And I remember another incident. Jayapadakar Maharaj was telling something, I think, that Vrindavan there, somebody's son, one of the son wanted some help from Prabhupada during Prabhupada time. Prabhupada told, give him lot of books, let him go and distribute. After he distributes, comes back, you give him something.
Yes.
Prabhupada never showed any favor because of his son or family. And imagine how much Prabhupada is expecting from us.
Yes.
For all the benefits we are taking from Prabhupada's society. Prabhupada told, this ISKCON is my body. That means we are taking from Prabhupada. Then how much we need to give back to Prabhupada, his own family members, from his birth, he was putting this condition. He should go and distribute books
Yes.
and come back, and that he can give something. He didn't mention also. And that is the way Prabhupada, and another thing is, Prabhupada was so cautious about spending money and all those things. I remember one other incident in the bureau meeting we were discussing. Gopal Krishna Maharaj was mentioning, Prabhupada told one simple formula if everybody follows, that accounts will be perfect. What is that formula Prabhupada told? Every single paisa you get it, put it in bank
Yes.
and take it from bank and spend it.
Yes.
Then bank will tally your account. You
Bank is your accountant.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the best way
Yes.
you can see, keep the things and all those things. Therefore, what I see, it's not, time is not enough to tell Prabhupada things. I went through whole details and now almost I have made 20 brahmacharis, more than 20-25 years they have established. Everybody comes to temple, first they should read Prabhupada Lilamrita. Then you will know in and out of ISKCON. Don't think ISKCON is hi-fi or something, very high things. What level it came, what is the essence Prabhupada gave. And so that all the devotees they are continuing. And therefore one who understands Prabhupada, then he can understand Krishna, he can understand Mahaprabhu. Without understanding Prabhupada, it's a very tough. That's what my own experience. I frankly tell, I didn't read Bhagavad Gita first, I didn't read Bhagavatam first, I read Prabhupada Lilamrita. That's why I am Prabhupada's man. And like
Thank
that,
you.
more life is, I am dedicating him. That is the consciousness, I am taking more service and all those. Even though Maharaj is 61, I am 63. Now it's a time for us to get more.
And Brajari Prabhu is our elder.
It is time for us to get out of this all management. Now these youngsters should take over.
Yes.
They should be properly trained, properly get the mood. And that's one of my long ambition. They should be in a proper position to take over. It should not be left empty when the society should be properly guided.
Yes.
Prabhupada taught that also. He formed the GBC during his lifetime also and trained them. Everything he has taught, what has not he taught. And whenever people talk about so many management things, management course, this and all those things, go and read Prabhupada book. Everything is in Prabhupada book. You tell which management point is not there, you tell me, I will tell you. What is Prabhupada books, it is there.
Yes.
And that's why because in my career I have done many things, but we all waste. They are not practical, they are only theory, all material. That will not really get the people into the fold, but Prabhupada thinks everything gets in the fold. I can tell, but Prajagiri Prabhu wanted to mention something.
Something, go ahead, yeah. You wanted to say something? Yes.
Now, Prabhupada also established in ISKCON that 2 signature is a must,
Compulsory.
compulsory.
Yes.
Hmm.
They should not be family members.
They should not be family members.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yes, man also.
And not yes man.
And Gopal Maharaj used to say that Prabhupada told that if your cashier or accountant, he just, if he's not fighting with you for money, that means he's a chore. because devotees know how to just get the money. And if a proper accountant or cashier, he should be very strict.
Yes.
So that's what, and regarding this Vrindavan Dev, Prabhu just told that Prabhupada was in Hyderabad. So Jaswamati Nandan Prabhu was there and Tamal Krishna Maharaj, everybody were there. So he came, arrived in Hyderabad. He wanted money from Prabhupada. He wanted to purchase a truck so that he can, earn money out of that. So then their family will be not in trouble. Then Prabhupada said, no. You just take books and sell it and then come to BBT and if they give something, then you can do. So
Yes.
he was not willing to give.
Yes.
And one time he was asking money because Prabhupada arranged that only he will get 1,000 or 2,000 rupees. 1,000 I think. But he was asking money and the devotee who is in charge, he didn't give money. So he came to, again Prabhupada, this is our Jaswamati Nandan Prabhu, was telling that because there is affection,
Yes.
son, whatever it may be, even if you are take sannyas or whatever,
Yeah.
some sort of relation, affection will be there. So when Jasamathananda Prabhu said that he asked money and they didn't give anything. So tears came from Prabhupada's eye. So later on, in ICC meeting, so we decided to give something. All the temples should give something. So, but then some Prabhupada disciples, those are very hardcore Prabhupada disciples, they said, no, Prabhupada told this thing that we'll give only 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. We'll not give anything to him. So, but then in one meeting, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, many people are there. So I told that Prabhupada has done so much for entire world, all devotees. And we just fly and we spend money lavishly. And but how it will look when his children, they get, they don't get anything.
Yes, yes.
I told. So then gradually, then we made a system that each temple will give this much
Yes.
in a year. So then we started giving. And I remember this Krishna Chandra Prabhu, Mohapadlal,
Yes.
his family trust, he put a money about 10-15 lakhs rupees in a fixed deposit.
Yes.
And whatever the interest was coming, they were giving.
Wonderful. And that should be done.
How we can neglect,
Yes.
Prabhupada is our founder Acharya, because Prabhupada said something,
Yes.
that doesn't mean that we'll just, his family people will starve and will eat nice halwa here.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm not sure how much time more we have. How much time more? If Mukunda Madhava Prabhu wants to share something. Something, please. See how wonderfully Braja Hari Prabhu speaks? Huh? See? So when you have next Leelamrita class, he has a very deep affection for Brajari Prabhu has, you can see, so much deep affection for Prabhupada, and not only Prabhupada, for Prabhupada's family. So next, so you'll have Leelamrita class, right? Every week on Ekadashi. No, not this Saturday we are chanting. So when he's available, then you must nicely bring him, put him here on the Vyasasan. And he can read, even if he doesn't speak, he can just read. I think you're reading from I'll Build Your Temple, the Jewish story, no? So you can just read and and then if he doesn't say anything but just reads, when question time comes, you ask him question and then he will answer. See how much is nice. Thank you. He's also a deep Prabhupada man. Yeah. Our Shankardari serves as the Secretary General of the
General
ISKCON
Secretary.
Bureau.
General Secretary of the
The
Bureau.
Secretary General is more powerful.
You.
It's not in a general way, Secretary General. Like United Nations.
There are so many secretaries and you are Secretary General.
General of the Secretaries, yes. So please go ahead. We'll take a few more minutes. It's a very special day for Srila Prabhupada and for all of us. Yes.
So this Prabhupada has built this Krishna consciousness movement, worldwide movement, on the foundations of his sacrifice and austerity. Even before going to the US, right here in Jugu, Prabhupada used to stay in Andheri. That is Scindia Steam Navigation Company's staff quarters. He was staying in the staff quarters of Scindia Steam Navigation Company that is owned by Sumati Murarji. And her house used to be in this Gandhigram Road. Now they are not there, but in the Gandhigram Road. So that is how Prabhupada, road is there, but house is, they have given up because she didn't know, she adopted somebody, they sold and things like that. So, Prabhupada would walk from Andheri to Jugu. So, you can imagine, at the time, he could have he would want to save few, anasaf means, to save so that, he can use it for some other purpose. He was walking from there. He was already 68, 69 just before he left. 68 years old man walking from Andheri station to Jugu. And that is how he saw this place and thought that if I can get this place, maybe I can build a nice temple for Krishna.
Yes.
So we have this place. It was seen by him. At the time it was appearing like a mini jungle. Still he thought, it's a nice place. He used to come here all the way and take a turn to go to Jugu Beach Road, the Jugu Gandhigram Road.
Yes.
So we can see how, as Maharaj mentioned, it was actually an inbuilt quality for him. So he was not even thinking that he's tolerating actually. He was like, because as a businessman traveling all over India and trying to establish something, business was going down, so many things he has to undergo. And then we can see after he went to New York also, America also, how much struggle he has to undergo. Brajaripur was explaining in 1990 and it was in 1965 actually. It's almost 65, 75, 85, it's almost 25 years, 25 years.
Yes.
25 years, one generation changes actually. The next generation is that bad. You can see the previous generation at the time, the hippie movement was in the peak of the protesting against the Vietnam War and things like that. So much austerity. When we read Srila Prabhupada's book, Prabhupada Leelamrita, how he was a one-man show. He has to do the shopping and then prepare the items and then give the lectures. After giving the lecture, serve prasadam, and after prasadam, clean the place.
Including the bathroom and toilet.
So, the same sacrifice and austerity, this Jugu temple is also a place of sacrifice, Tapobhumi actually.
That's true.
So when Western devotees, Tamal Krishna Maharaj came and said, there is no doorknob, there is no running water, how can I stay here? Prabhupada said, don't you want to become purified? Tapo divyam putrakayena sattam yashmas uddayet brahma shaukyam tanantam. So tapasya actually purifies the heart. Prabhupada was demonstrating it practically. And we should not forget. Very important, because we may not have undergone or we may not be wanting to undergo, but then we have to know that this is what on the basis the Prabhupada has established, and the Prabhupada's mood and mission has to be very clearly understood. For a higher cause, a lower cause has to be sacrificed. Some sacrifice has to be done, and that purifies the heart, by means of which we can carry forward the legacy of Srila Prabhupada in the way Srila Prabhupada wanted to establish this Krishna consciousness movement. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. I'll just conclude with Srila Prabhupada. We could see how Shankardari Prabhu didn't come to Krishna consciousness with the book Bhagavat. He came to Krishna consciousness with the person Bhagavat, Srila Prabhupada. It's amazing how the person's life who's living the books brought you. And Mukunda Madhava reminded me of something His Holiness Sridhar Swami told me many years ago when I used to come in the 90s here. He said that when Srila Prabhupada used to walk from Andheri to Juhu to come and see Sumati, he's so determined. He said sometimes he'll go late back. And the place is very dangerous, very dangerous. Dangerous like, what do you say, dacoits here, he said? Yeah. But Prabhupada was brave. He wanted the ticket to go. Walking in a jungle area here, not easy, from Andheri to here, nothing was there before. So His Holiness Sridhar Swami reminded me of that also some years ago. So I'll just conclude how Srila Prabhupada is our spiritual father or grandfather. Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to His Holiness Redananda Maharaj once in 1971 early. And he said the first birth is made possible by the parents, and the second birth is made possible by the spiritual father through transcendental knowledge, and Prabhupada's books are there. And then Srila Prabhupada said that the spiritual master becomes the spiritual father, and the Gayatri mantra becomes the spiritual mother for the disciple. Because somebody asked him a question, if you are spiritual father, where's our spiritual mother? He said, Gayatri mantra is your mother. Because the word Gayatri is feminine also. It's like a mother. Gayatri mantra. So that was very nice, very simple. He said, Gayatri is your mother. I'm your spiritual father, Gayatri is your mother. Very nice, yeah. And then, then Srila Prabhupada said in one letter to another disciple that, as far as I am concerned, I have accepted you as my disciple, but you have accepted me as your spiritual father, not guru. Not guru. So you see me as your spiritual father. Yeah. And he said, and the relationship is eternal. Relationship is eternal. It will never diminish. Like that. So then another one was very nice. This is very significant because sometimes you get young women and young girls who are not married accepting initiation. Right? And sometimes the initiating guru is not very old himself. You know? Because sometimes you get it. I have experience of that. Sometimes, the married Mataji who was far younger than me, half my age, she'll cook so nice for me, and the husband will say, but you don't cook like that for me. And I'm your husband. You understand? Yeah. It's like that. Then she'll say, but he don't stay with us. Maharaj is just coming, we have to give him the best. And I said, but when he goes, you have to give me the best too. So then I make him eat with me, and his favorite, like that. So sometimes the female disciple may not see in the proper spirit, the initiating guru. And the initiating guru can be affected. Then Srila Prabhupada said, I'm saying this for the future. I'm saying this for the future. And who approached him? Is one of his earliest disciples. Her name is Mother Jadurani in 1967 in Stinson Beach in California. Then Srila Prabhupada told her, so far as remembering me and Krishna, it should be simultaneous. It should be simultaneous. That means if you just remember the Guru and you're attracted to him another way, not spiritually, it's not good. It's not good. Then Srila Prabhupada made it very clear, although he is a grandfather to Jadurani, but he made it very clear. Very clear. So far as remembering me, you have to remember me always in relationship to Krishna. You cannot remember me alone. Like that. And then Srila Prabhupada made it very clear. And you should know that I am your spiritual father and Krishna is your spiritual husband. Not me. Like that. And then Srila Prabhupada says, a girl in the natural Krishna conscious culture, she can never ever forget two people in her life. In the culture. Not the uncultured Western world, not like that. Not, they don't even remember the fathers. Srila Prabhupada said, a girl in a cultured circle, in Krishna conscious circle, a girl can never ever forget two personalities, a father and a husband. So you should not forget me as your spiritual father, and who is your husband? Krishna, your eternal husband. Wonderfully, how Prabhupada said that. So that reminds me also as a sannyasi, like as a spiritual father, or those who are initiating disciples. It should remind us like that that's how we should train our, charges under our care, Shiksha and Diksha disciples. So for us, Srila Prabhupada is more merciful. Just as he said to his disciples, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is your grandfather. And the grandfather is more merciful than the father. So we are more fortunate than those disciples that are directly initiated by Srila Prabhupada, Why? Because the grandfather is more merciful than the father. So Srila Prabhupada is our grandfather, more merciful than the father. Thank you for tolerating all of us who took a little bit more time to shower our affection and remember Srila Prabhupada in relationship to Krishna and Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON founder Acharya, BBT founder Srila Prabhupada ki, Anantakuri Vaishnav Vrinda ki, ISKCON Juhu Yatra ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.